right, looking good. Gonna go ahead and make a couple of posts again. Also find where my YouTube link is. And we probably won't even take the full 5 minutes on this one. We'll probably get started right away as soon as I just get a couple links, because I already just went through this process, so I got all my tabs open that I need open, you know? Just need to edit a few things. Huh. I did have a double live last time. I won't make that mistake this time. Okay. So, boop. And boop. Just doing a few posts, and then we'll get started. I hope this one's a short one. The last one actually went a bit longer than I was expecting. All right. So that's all good. Got 3 minutes here, hoping to just take one more. See, chat's up, so if you've got any precursor questions, feel free to go ahead and start asking those now. That'll be just fine. Okay. I do have a small amount of setup that I need to do here. So can I do this? Can I do this? Yep. All right, so let's wrap those up. And then one other post that I need to make. Okay, so I guess we will take the full 5 minutes almost. Okay, cool. So with that out of the way, let's go ahead and get started. Well, hello, and welcome back. I'm A.J. O'Neill. In this video, I am representing my company, Root. We do Proxmox training, general co-location training, helping set up, sizing, getting into the data center, that sort of thing. And we're putting out these videos in an effort to better reach that community. Also, if you're local here in Utah, we co-sponsor the Utah Colo meetup with Vivint. And as you probably saw in the pre-roll, we are authorized Proxmox resellers, and I am Proxmox certified. So with all of that nonsense out of the way, let's get to what you are really here for, which is learning about notifications in Proxmox. So this is something that I neglected to set up because it's just one of those things where, yeah, it's important, but I'll do it later. And I ended up jerry-rigging some solutions in a couple of cases that I wish that I hadn't at first. So this is really simple and it shouldn't take much time to go over it all. So here at the data center, you're going to scroll down all the way to notifications. And first, let's take a look at notification matchers. So the default under match rules is nothing. So what we can set, and I'll direct you to the documentation. You can go to the help to get more information about specifically what fields are available and whatnot. But if we just go to match severity, that allows us to basically select everything. So here are all the different types of severity of messages that we can get. Info, notice, warning, error, unknown. So we can select that. And then instead of all rules match, I would prefer to have if any rules match, although in this case, it doesn't make a difference, but just noting that in many cases, especially getting started out, you just want to get more of the notifications. And then as you start to understand which ones are too frequent or unimportant or just noise, you can narrow it down. But let's start out with that. And then targets to modify. We don't really have many targets right now, except for sending to the local mail address. And I'm actually going to uncheck that because we're not going to use it. So that gives you an overview. Oh, I guess we have to check something. So we'll check it. That gives you an overview of kind of what's available. Now, how do we add a target? There's two main things that I think most people are going to be using. One is SMTP. So if you have Postmark or Mailgun or what have you, something that has SMTP access, then you'd be choosing that and you'd go through, put in your mail server stuff. Now, note this supports Start TLS and TLS. So you'd want to select the correct port based on what you're trying to do. Which, let me see, the default port does update there. So you've got the default port there, username, password, from. There's not too much in here that's special outside of what you would normally do anyway. But since I think this is pretty well understood and you know what to do, and this is probably the thing where you might have been hung up on, I don't want to log into my management console and go get that information and play around with it and test it. I want to show you the simplest, easiest way to get started, which is to use a webhook with Discord. Now, you might use Slack, you might use something else. There's multiple notification services for which this is very easy to get set up. So if you've used any of them before, then this is very low friction, but I'm going to show how to do it with Discord. So what I'm going to do is set up Discord, and I actually have a channel that I'm going to use as a test channel. It's called Beyond Code. So the way that I like to name it is the base type, then the subgroups. So Discord, Beyond Code, and this one is, I'm just going to call it test. That's not actually the name of the channel we're going to use. I just have a channel that I've been using. And then we need the URL to post to. Now, you can go to the help here, and it will open up and it will show you a number of examples to get started with. Notify SH, Discord, Slack, etc. You have to go look up how to get your webhook URL. I wish that they did put a little link to the documentation on Discord in here. But as you can see, it's pretty simple to get started with. I'm going to add one caveat to this once we have it set up. So I'm going to go over here and go into my Discord channel. Just one second while I bring that up. All right. So here is a Discord channel where I've been doing test notifications, as you can see. So I'm in the Discord, I'm in the channel, and then I'm going to go to the channel settings. And then here on the left-hand side, you can see there's integrations and there is webhooks. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this webhook because that's the one that we're replacing. And I might as well, no, I'm going to leave that one open because that's lab 1 notifications. All right. Then I'm creating a new webhook. It's called Captain Hook by default. We're going to rename this. So this is going to be root lab 2 alerts. I actually prefer the term alert sometimes because it's just a shorter word to type. And then we're going to copy the webhook URL and save changes. That's all that we needed to do there. Now, We can open that, close that, we're out of there. That was it. That's all that we needed to do there. And then here, we're going to follow what their recommendation is, which is we're going to paste the URL, but we're going to take both the authentication token, which is everything after the slash, as well as the channel name, and we're just going to replace that with secrets, which is a special word, dot token, which is an arbitrary one that we define. Then I'm going to go down here under secrets, click add secret, token, and then paste this in. The thing that we need to not forget to do is to go back up to the top and add headers, because we're going to add a body that is JSON. And if we don't specify the content-type header to be application/JSON, it's not going to work. So once we've added the header, we don't need to do anything to save it other than when we click add down here. And then the body is the next piece. And we're going to do this two ways. So let me go back over to how they show their example. And again, this information is right there. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this. This is what's being sent to Discord. It's sending Discord webhook to the channel with the authentication token. And it's sending this message. I think that leading space was a mistake. So we're going to delete that leading space. The triple backticks here are for Discord. So Discord supports Markdown. So we can have triple backticks and have whatever our messages be inside of there. And generally speaking, messages from Proxmox VE do not have backticks in them. And so this escape character is appropriate. And then we're using escape, which is a special word. It's explained in the documentation. But what this does is it JSON escapes whatever field you give it. So we're going to JSON escape message, and we're going to put it in a code block. So that means that instead of having new lines in the body, it's going to have \n and so forth, quotes, etc. So with that, we're now ready to, let's call this Discord full message. And there we are. And then I'm going to go ahead and I got to click on this part and then click the X for it to go away. Now we have a notification target here, and we can click test. Do you want to send the notification? Yes, I do. So let me bring this right on over. And so you can see the last message there was 1:51 a.m. Send a test notification. Sent test notification. And if we'd had both up simultaneously, you would have seen that it is pretty much instant, within a second. And we can see this is the test notification, yada yada. All right. Now, there's a problem here that some people have reported. I have not identified and experienced this myself, but there's a problem that some other people have reported, that sometimes the content of the message could be longer than what Discord actually allows. So for that purpose, what we're going to do is we're going to do everything that we did here again, but we're going to create one that just sends the severity and the title of the message. That way, in case there's a message that can't be sent, we at least get the severity and the title of it. So I'm guessing that might be error messages that have a long error or something like that. I don't know specifically which messages those are. The ones that I receive are typically fairly short. So we'll go back to add webhook. This one's going to be Discord beyond code, and I think I'm just going to call it title. I'm going to put that in there. I'm going to go back over here. I'm going to go back into settings. I'm going to go back into integrations. I'm going to go back to webhooks. I'm going to go back to the webhook we were setting up and go back to copy webhook URL. And then we're out of here for now. So I'm just going to paste this in. So again, I can grab that token. So secrets, we're going to add token value. Headers, let's not forget, again, we need to add content type application JSON. Pretty much you should always do this when you're working with JSON. Some APIs will just parse everything as JSON because that's all that they accept, but there's not really a good reason not to do it. And Discord does require it. The message will fail if we don't use that for the case of Discord. So I'll paste this again, except this time what I'm going to do is we're going to do escape severity. Let's see if I can spell that right on the first try. And then we're going to give our message, in which case we're going to do escape title. So that should do it. And again, I'm using Markdown, the same that I would type in Discord, because this is just going to get posted in Discord as Markdown. Also, oh, I forgot. I had a note on this, but we can also tag a user so that a user gets alerted. Let me see if I can show how to do that as well. So you have to turn on debug mode. This is something that, well, I don't really want to make this about Discord, but I'll let you know that you can turn on debug mode, and I don't remember what the format is exactly, but it ends up being something like this. And it's not the actual username that you use, but it's the identifier that you can only get from developer mode. And the syntax is something like this. I don't remember if the @ sign is on the inside or the outside, or if it's brackets or whatever it is. But you can set this up so that it specifically causes a specific user to receive a notification for Discord. But again, I don't want this to be specifically about Discord. It's just a simple way to get started with this and some considerations that you might need. So this is title only. There we go. And then again, I have to click over here and then click on that in order for it to work. So now I should have named that message instead of test, but I've got title. So I'm going to click OK. Do you want to send this? Yes, I do. It was sent. And if we look over here, now we see info test notification. So what we would see if we test these back to back would be 1 notification, 2 notification. And if there were some sort of error where this was too long to be posted, this would not be too long to be posted, and it's escaped. So if there are special characters or something, that's not a concern for us. All right. So with that out of the way, we go back to notification matchers. We go into, we already set up rules match, did any rule match, and we just match on all warnings. Go to notification targets. Now we can turn off the local mail, although we might want that as well. That's not something I personally use. It is useful, I suppose, as a backup, but then you've already got notifications elsewhere in the system for that. So now we have this turned on and working. I want to see, I'm going to risk something here. Where did we have... We had tasks and notifications. I'm looking for where we can take a look at them in the cluster. Well, I guess we've got the logs down here that we can always look at. I was hiding those. But we've got the cluster log, we've got the task log. So we can generally see things down there, and then when they have an error, they're highlighted. So that's one place where we've got a record of that. And the other place, I don't remember off the top of my head. I know that under node, we have the system log, and we can, this is basically the same thing that we did in the last segment with journal control. And then, well, I'm not going to look into that right now. I'll just make a note to look at that later. I believe that there's another place similar to this where we can see the bigger log of everything. And we also have it, we have the task history here, which is the same as this, but I'm looking for the cluster level log. Okay, I'm going to take 1 minute as an aside to look for this again. As you know, I have no doubt, sometimes it gets confusing looking through, trying to figure out where things are that you haven't used recently. Oh, is it under cluster? No, it's not under cluster. Why don't I have that? Okay, well, we're gonna move on, because the thing that I actually wanted to show was, let's say that I have here an instance that I'm going to back up. So let me go to backup, and I'm just going to click backup now, and I'm going to be a little pedantic and just put this in the format that I like. even though it doesn't matter. I just like to put it in the format that I like. All of this looks good. I'm going to click backup. This will only take a few seconds. This container is only 50 megabytes. Okay, so it's done. And then you may have noticed a little color change right here in the corner. Okay. So here we go. Successful backup. And you get basically the same thing that was shown if you were to go to... Is this just out of the way? Oh yeah, I forget these things are there sometimes. Okay, let me go back up to this layer. I know that it shows the backup logs. I just don't remember which interface that they're in. That's backup schedule. Is it here? Backups. Yes, there we go. Okay. So here, if we go to backups through the storage container, is apparently not where it shows us the backup log. But there is a place where you can click on the log. It shows the same thing that it shows in the pop-up. It shows the same thing that we see here. So anyway, just wanted to do a little bit on how to set up the notifications. I know it's one of those things that just gets put on the back burner, but especially if there's something like a disk failure or a node failure or something that's out of the ordinary, again, once you get used to what types of logs there are and what type of information that you see in them, you probably want to go back into the data center, into notifications. Whoops. And, well, now let's see. Did that one? Okay. Into notifications, into notification matchers, match rules, match severity, and then tick some of these things off so that you're not getting notifications for them. But until that point, you get the notifications, you see what's there, and you know, if you need to put that into your own webhook, your own internal application, you saw how easy it is to do. Hopefully you agree that that was pretty easy to do. And then you can make sure that you're getting the alerts for things that you need to get the alerts on. So with that said, I'll stick around for just a minute. If you have any questions or comments or things that you would like to know, go ahead and let me know. And if not, after about 30 to 60 seconds, then I will just sign off on this. Again, thanks for tuning in. Like and sub if you want to. And if you are looking for help in that on-ramp to co-location, we have a variety of packages that we can put together with you of varying sizes, from startup company to enterprise, to help you get in, have high availability, redundancy, meet all of the needs that you have. Particularly if you're transitioning from cloud to colo or on-prem, there's a lot of, I'd say, misconceptions that people have based on a lot of marketing that's gone on in the past few years. And we'd be happy to guide you through that to make sure that you're comfortable. If you've been thinking about it, but you think, oh no, we wouldn't be able to do it for this reason, that reason. I just believe in it. I just think it's great to own your own data and have a little bit extra expertise around to be able to manage things without having a huge burden and significantly reducing cost. So with that out of the way, I don't see any other questions or comments coming in, so I'm signing off. Adios.